Yeah, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
All right, guys. Happy Tuesday, April 16th. Tinfoil Tuesday. We're going to talk a little bit of AMC and whatever else comes up with, depending on who shows up as a guest tonight. I've got Mediocre in the back room. We're going to bring him on in just a second as folks filter into the chat here. Anya, good evening. Have a great day. Good evening. Carlos, what's up? Gus says, everybody ready to make some monies? Devil May Rage, how you doing? DR, Candace, good evening. Yucca Frita Taco Tuesday with fried yucca on the side. Wedmore, good evening. We have the chart here for AMC, and I'm just really confused, guys. I'm really confused what happened, because all I've been reading all day, all week, is that AMC was going to $1.50 and it was going to reverse split. And somehow Adam Aaron's getting thwarted here. That someone's playing oddball. Someone ran this thing up to $2.89 today, closing up 10%. Despite Adam's best efforts, somehow the stock just skyrocketed today. And we're going to try to figure it out. We're going to figure it out today. Let's bring Mediocre on. What's up, amigo?
Cheers, everybody.
Hey, cheers! I got a Modelo here tonight. Salud. Mediocre. Adam is clearly trying to bankrupt this company and take all of our shares with another reverse split. Someone is working against him and fucking ran the stock up today. What is your theory? What's going on here?
My theory on the stock running up today was the hidden donut holes, Tony.
The donut holes.
It had to
Word
be.
is getting out, guys, that donut holes are here.
What else could it be,
I love
Tony?
that theory. Bigums, what's up, amigo?
Could it be nothing other than the donut holes, Tony? It has to be.
Oh, man. Donut holes. Wow. Yeah. So I tweeted out about the donut holes. This was some leaked info that came out, and apparently they're hitting the AMC cinemas this week. I don't know that AMC has put out an official announcement, but someone found out the info. And guys, no, I don't think that donut holes is going to save AMC. Heck, we don't even know how much popcorn revenue AMC is making yet. But my point of tweeting out about the donut holes is this is clearly evidence that the company is continuing to innovate, that they're driving new products, that they're not sitting around on their butts doing nothing. Clearly, to me, evidence contradicting anyone who's driving this narrative. These crybaby emotional flat earthers trying to drive the narrative that the company wants to bankrupt itself. If you want to bankrupt yourself, the easiest thing to do, Mediocre, is what? Probably nothing. Do nothing. So are we going to get rich overnight off of donut holes? Probably not. But the company's driving innovation. They're doing new things. And for me, that's good news. So we tweeted out. Can you still hear me, Mediocre? Mediocre. Uh-oh, we got
Yeah,
another
hang on,
guest.
Tony, I'm lagging.
All right, mediocre's lagging. Let me bring on another guest. Hang on 1 second. Corex, how you doing, amigo?
Give me 1 second. I got to get my headphones here. I forgot.
Yeah,
about
no
that.
worries. So, man, I wish we had someone on here. Corex, are you going to tell us the? I need to know what happened to this reverse split theory. What happened to the $1.50 price target?
Nope.
I was searching all afternoon after the market closed till about 5:30 Eastern for an updated 8K. Guys, best I can tell, no news officially dropped, but we do have some theories. And we'll talk about those here in just a minute.
That's better. I'm back.
All right. Mediocre, aka the monkey tamer. Clearly, like I was saying, clearly someone is thwarting Adam Aaron's attempts to reverse split this company, drive it to $1.50 and put it into bankruptcy. hand the keys over to private equity, as it were. What's your best theory?
My theory is we don't even have private equity involved in the play right now, so I don't get it. But, my theory, donut holes. People are excited about the donut holes. No. I'm going to say he's probably completed his dilution. And
That was a leading theory that was out there today, that the dilution could be complete. Volume today on AMC, double what it has historically been. Over 31 million shares traded today, sending the price skyrocketing. Guys, you had high volume and the price pushing up. And do I think that was all retail traders all of a sudden deciding today was the day to buy 31 million shares? I do not.
so
Correct. You have any thoughts? Do you think this was all retail traders, Corex?
On the rally today?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it was just kind of general market swing today. Like you started out pretty red all across the board, and then you had the rally that kind of went through the whole midday, and everything just got kind of carried with it from the looks of it to me.
Yeah, but the SPY ended in the red today, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this was not a index-driven rally.
No.
Let me look at some other movie theater companies. I'm going to get to my theory here in just a minute. Cinemark up how much today? 2.5%. IMAX up 3.3%. AMC up 10%. GameStop was up 3%. And Hycroft Mining down 2.5%. Something was going on specific to AMC today. Corex, before I share my theory, do you just think it was market? The market?
It is, because I mean, you've got different stocks that all play differently, and pending some sort of like theory that catches my fancy, I usually just default to the null hypothesis of maybe not retail traders, but traders in general in the aggregate.
Wait, did you say the null hypothesis? Are you going there? You're going after the nulls? Or did you say the null hypothesis?
Null, as in the default.
Not NOL.
Yes, correct.
All right, just checking, because I thought you went off the reservation there for a second.
Oh, no.
All right, I'm going to share a couple of crazy thoughts. And guys, keep in mind, tonight we're just having fun. This is not financial advice. Definitely not financial advice. I know people love it when if they start off by saying that, they clearly don't know what they're talking about. No, we don't have any official information. We're just spitballing.
Donut holes, Tony.
Donut holes is the number one leading theory. But if I had to guess, and we've been, as you know, watching very closely, tracking it on a spreadsheet, estimating when the dilution is going to be done, and they're getting close to done. But we've been a little bit dismayed at here's how I kind of view the last few days. the volume starts off in the mornings really, really weak. And
Mhm.
and the company, I think this is my guess, the company is highly incentivized to get this dilution done before the upcoming meeting, which they haven't even, to my knowledge, announced yet. And I know that a year ago, for the first week in May, they had announced the earnings call by April 3rd. We're on the 16th. We're on the
Uh-oh.
16th now, and they still haven't announced an official date. If I'm not mistaken, they have 40 days after the quarter ends to hold the meeting or to drop the 10Q anyways. And so that would put it on or before May 10th. So this is just my guess that they really want to get this done before the dilution done before they announce the meeting. And I think, just speculate, that they're holding off announcing the meeting until they knew that they were pretty much done with the dilution. And there might even be a tie-in with the debt restructuring. And so these are things I'm going to be looking for. When do we get the official announcement? And the other thing we're going to be looking for, as Mediocre knows, we've been saying to ourselves every day, wait till you see the day where the price either flattens out, no more downward pressure, or starts to take off. And Mediocre, we were really perplexed yesterday at how it's a tough call when it's a bad day in the market and the price is just getting eviscerated. Is it the market, as Corex was saying, just driving the price down, or was the company being super incentivized to just finish this thing off? Right, Medi? Do you want to expand on that? How we were talking about that yesterday? It seemed like unusually violent downward pressure yesterday.
Yeah. It was brutal yesterday. It was a bad day. It had me in a bad mood. A lot of people in the Discord know that. I was just frustrated with what was going on. When in the morning things looked good, we checked things Sunday night, Tony. We did, and things looked like, what was going on in the global world was going to turn out to be okay, not a big deal in the market. And then, I don't know, something happened mid-morning and the thing just nosedived. It just came down and it took everything with it. And, that it pissed me off because I want to see AMC succeed. I want them to sell their shares for a higher price, just like the rest of you do, right? Like, we're on the same page. And so when the overall market takes a dump like that, it hurts. It hurts us. It hurts our position, And I wasn't happy about that, but I think that there was a lot of shorting going on yesterday, which I think a lot of today could have been short covering.
That could have been a part of it too. Like I was saying with the shorter's cheat code, where AMC has a very low cost to borrow, and so you can just kind of sit there and collect the arbitrage difference between the cost to borrow and the overnight rate.
Bob says May 8th is the earnings. Bob, if you can drop the link to the official notice from AMC into the chat, I'd love to see that. I haven't seen an official notice from AMC yet. There's all sorts of websites that will guess a date, but the only official info I go by is from AMC. So if I'm wrong, guys, if they drop the date, let me know. So Mediocre and Corex, yes, we have been hypothesizing. Clearly, it's easy for the shorts the market itself has been bad for the last week overall.
Mm-hmm.
And they will take advantage of that to push down the price and AMC is particularly vulnerable to that because they have ongoing dilution. But we also, I don't want to get people's hopes up too much, but we also think that the company, is very close to fair value, and it doesn't really make sense to keep shorting it at this level unless you just think there's no more movies coming out for the rest of this year. The company is going to lose $250 million every quarter for the rest of this year, and they'll be out of cash by the end of the year. we don't think that's the case based on the upcoming movie slate. Q1's going to be bad, and then we expect it to get much better. You know, my model shows minimal cash burn in Q2 if my estimates for the Q2 box office are even close to accurate. In Q3, we might, you know, there's a good chance we're going to make money in Q3.
I'm sorry, I just saw something that made me laugh.
That's all right. I'm used to being laughed at, Corex. I know you weren't laughing at me.
When we get to the Donahue case that you want to go to, or you're going to have a good laugh, I just read the docket.
We're going to catch you guys up on all the lawsuit stuff going on. We might even drop a little bit of GTII news since they dropped their 10K today. We got lots of funny stuff to talk about today. But where was I? I was talking about why the shorts were targeting AMC. It doesn't make sense to me. And so the lower it got driven, it is upsetting to all of us. And yeah, mediocre, I had to hold your hand and throw you a warm blankie yesterday because you were so pissed that they kept on dropping it. And I get it. I get it. But we got to be non-emotional. Here's what I think is going on. And this is pure tinfoil. I took all the little bits of tinfoil off the map and the cork board and the whiteboard over here, and I glued them all together for you guys. And we'll only know in the next 4 business days or so, maybe in the morning, if this is correct or not. But my leading theory has been that AMC was raising the $250 million in conjunction with, it's either for 2 reasons, right? They're just replacing the $250 million that we expect they're going to burn in Q1, or they're doing that plus it was part of a liquidity raise requirement to get a debt restructuring done, a deal signed off. And so if that were the case, and you know, the lenders, bondholders may have been shorting the stock, as we know that bondholders sometimes do to protect their bond position. Mm-hmm. They may have known that the dilution was just about done because they got called into a meeting today to sign off on all the paperwork with AMC. So they called over to the main office up in New York or Chicago, wherever it is, and said, all right, we're going in the room with AMC to sign off on the debt restructure and close out those shorts because the dilution's done and we're signing the paperwork today. And so you had some short covering combined with some FOMO run up and maybe a little bit of options juice pushing the price up today and pushing the volume up.
Pressure from the dilution itself.
And no more pressure from the dilution. So it had only one way to go but up. Now, guys, I want to be clear, for the last 2 weeks or whatever, I do, you know, for the most part, it's not, you don't hear me beating the drum complaining that the shorts are pushing the price down. The AMC's been pushing the price down because they've been diluting. Every time, you know, there's any attempt for the price to drive up, they use that as a sales opportunity. That's what happens in dilution. So were the shorts making it a little bit worse? Probably. But once AMC is done with the extra selling pressure, then you have that freedom to run. Go ahead, mediocre.
I was just going to say, yeah, they needed that money so that regardless if the shorts are short, and they got to sell stock in order to bring money for the balance sheet. So it's what it is. And I agree with you on that restructuring deal. I think something's going to come out.
I see Grandpa Barney in the chat. Grandpa Barney, you want to come on and say hello to the folks? I still see these nut jobs saying that you're Adam Aaron, Grandpa. Love to have you come on and wave your hand to him.
Yeah, if you are indeed Adam Aaron, I'd sure like to know your opinion on this court case in Texas.
Let's hear your voice. Let's hear your voice or see your face and see if you are Adam Aaron. I know he's not Adam Aaron because I talk to him every day. And I've seen his face, but it just cracks me up, guys. the amount of nut jobs we have out there with these wild theories that some of us are paid by hedge funds or paid by AMC or actually some of the nameless, faceless people are representatives of AMC masquerading as grandpas out there on on social media.
I'm still waiting for that check from Adam Aaron. Still hasn't shown up yet. Neither has the one from Doug Sifu, if you're asking about that too.
Correct.
I'm also not Algo Hack, in case anyone was wondering. What are the other things that I get called here? Just get a list and check it twice for everyone.
Correct. So I want to know, is your check going to have AMC's logo on it or Citadel's? I'm just curious which one's.
Virtu's logo. See, you're wrong.
Oh, God.
Right now, it's kind of Tesla's logo on it with that short position I have on Tesla right now.
Tony Kelch says, it's been a while. Said I would come back and say hi when AMC hits 250. Now we're here. Let's go. Welcome back, Tony. JG saying hello to mediocre. JG, what's up, JG?
What's up, JG?
We got not money advice in the house. He says, pretty sure the bondholders write scripts for many influencers via email. Yeah, do you guys, you got that? You get the daily email with your script and talking points, right? All of you, Corex, mediocre.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally.
Yeah. But yeah, there's no doubt that the bondholders have some vested interest in the price of the stock. So, you know, what they do would not surprise me, but that's just how the market works, guys. Welcome to Wall Street. Wired Ape says, I think the market may have found a bottom, especially if we finish the week up. Lord, I hope you're correct, my friend. Tomorrow should help.
It looked like after 2 days of bleed, it finally started to stem itself. It didn't quite stop, but my big problem is we're getting ready to head into FOMC, and DXY has been running like crazy. And if the dollar is going to keep going up, it means things priced in dollars are going to keep coming down. And guess what? Stocks are priced in.
Gus says AMC is on the verge of being profitable consecutively. I hope so, Gus. I feel good about Q3 at least. That's where I'm at right now. I didn't see if Grandpa Barney answered if he was going to come on tonight. I don't know if he's working. He might be up. He might be up on a pole hanging some high tension power wires tonight.
Yeah, he could zip tie his phone so we can see him with the camera of the phone and just do a selfie while he's up there pulling wire.
In the bucket. What's up, Bigums?
For any of y'all who don't know, Grandpa Barney is not Adam Aaron. He's he's a lineman. He's a lineman out there keeping your power on. All right. Anybody in the chat have any other theories that you would like to throw out there? Let us know. My theory is that the dilution is done. It's earlier than I had forecast, but the way that the price was allowed to run up and the volume jumped tells me that AMC, there's a good chance we'll know more tomorrow and the next day. If we get wiped out and the price gets driven back down, either they're done or they weren't diluting as heavily today because they needed the price to come back up. That could be another alternate theory, right? Mediocre. They just
let the price breathe a bit.
Yeah. Take a break, let the price come back up, and then go back to selling shares at a higher price so they can finish strong. I guess that is another.
You're going to get that one clipped out later. I guarantee it.
Denaro admits AMC shorting its own stock. Oh, man. Tony says, Grandpa is a lineman for the county. Oh, boy. We're turning into one of those shows where the host is singing. Oh, man. Candace says, Grandpa Barney is a good man. He is. He's a good dude.
He's an asshole, but he's a good dude. I love you, Grandpa Barney.
I'm kind of an asshole, but I try and be a good dude. Emphasis on try.
Have a great day says the shorts are going to get the stock delisted theory. Yeah, I just don't see how. Look, we've talked about the potential for reverse split and delisting. I'll just recap if it's your first time here, what I think. And again, guys, I've been wrong about stuff before. People always say he never says he's wrong. I've definitely been wrong about one thing, maybe two, but I don't see the need for AMC to do a reverse split. Clearly, the one last year was because they needed to free up shares. They had been telegraphing for a long time they needed to raise money, and we knew it was not likely that shareholders were going to approve additional shares. So they worked the system and ended up doing a reverse split to free up shares to raise money to not go bankrupt. And that's what happened. And they still have, even when this dilution is done, the one that we're in right now, they still have 200 million shares free and available, authorized, but not issued. So for me right now, it doesn't make sense that there would be any legitimate reason to do a reverse split. And no, if they announce another one, you're not going to hear me say, oh, this is a great idea. It's never a great idea unless you're backed into a corner and staring Chapter 11 in the face, which was, kind of where we were at in the middle of last year.
Or you need to make a deal with the lenders, right? Like, we don't have a choice. We need a deal. So if that's what they're asking for.
I'm not ever going to come on this camera and tell you guys, I think they should do nothing and just go bankrupt. I'm not. But sometimes we have to explain things to you that the company must do to avoid Chapter 11. And I get it. Some of y'all don't read the financial statements and you don't think that they could possibly run low on cash. But again, go look at the cash flow statement over the last year or 18 months, how much money came in on cash raised from financing activities versus the cash burn, and the math is very clear that they were going to run out of cash if they had not raised money. We'd already be bankrupt.
So Tony, is your theory that they needed 250 million so they could get a deal with the lender so that they have the money to pay the interest payments for the next 2 years, this year and next year?
The theory is either very simple, that they just needed the 250 million to replace what they're expected to burn in Q1 so that they have that close to $1 billion, 880 million cushion, which allows them to glide into next year, assuming that the cash burn for the next 3 quarters is minimal. That gives them plenty of cushion. They will burn cash this year. They will.
Does it guarantee the lenders get their interest payments?
There's plenty of cash for the lenders. I mean, it's 90 million a quarter, 90 maximum, 95, 100. There's plenty of cash for the lenders to get their interest payments. So it was either simply they wanted to make sure they have enough to glide in to next year, or that plus some requirement from the debt holders that, hey, you need more liquidity on the balance sheet before we restructure the debt. I kind of lean towards the second idea. All right, what else we got? Let me scroll up through some comments here.
Oh, hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor, rhetorical question rumor, by the way. I heard that you bought some $3 call options yesterday.
That is a fact. Yesterday, this is okay. I've been selling cash secured put options, and I've been selling covered calls for the last how long have we been doing this, mediocre? This year?
Yeah.
For mostly for this year, just to generate extra income and lower the basis on my position. Which right now my cost average is below $3 on my entire AMC position. The cheapest shares I've bought were at 261. But my entire position, every share I own is under $3. So I'm in good shape. But yesterday, while mediocre was throwing chairs at the wall, I said, guys, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I think the dilution there's a good chance it could be almost done, because that price being driven down yesterday a little bit more desperately than normal just kind of spoke to me. And I bought some $3 calls as AMC was pushing down to $2.30. Bought $3 calls that expired this Friday. So to say I was a little happy to see it run up to 280, 290, whatever it went up to today, guys, those call options, that you can go on the option chart and look at them. They were at one point today, they were up 700%. 700%.
So I bought 3,400 shares at $2.68, and then as soon as I bought those shares, I immediately sold the $3 call options against them. And so yesterday, Tony and I were talking. I was all pissed, and I thought dilution was close to being over too, but I could only afford to buy back 4 of them. So I got 3,000 shares that could go in the money, and I could lose them shares at $3. But we'll see what happens. We still got a couple of days. If it breaks over $3, whatever, right? They're just extra shares than the other ones I got.
I have no idea if it'll break over $3. Sure would be funny if it does this week, because that'd be some nice FU money. Let's go to what's his name? Norigo. He says, what is your price target after all this BS and AMC is profitable? I offer up to you guys the same valuation model I do for any stock. Look at what you think the potential annual earnings of AMC would be. Let's just say in 2026, if it's profitable, tell me your number of what you think the company is going to earn per share for the year. And then multiply that times a reasonable PE ratio. A good
way to check that is to go back and try and calculate the PE compared to the float from past times when it was profitable, and give you kind of an area to look at, or look at maybe like something like some of the other theater companies.
Yeah, I look at like a Cinemark or IMAX. Guys, you could use, let's just be generous. And I do this same exact exercise for GameStop, which is why I feel that GameStop price is going to be driven down unless they surprise with a profitable Q1, Q2, and Q3 this year. Let's just say a reasonable PE ratio of 25, just being very average.
Mm-hmm.
And I have models. If I model out $11 or $12 billion in domestic box office, I think that the model is showing like $1.50 or $1.78 annual earnings. Now no one's forecasting $12 billion box office in 2026. So we're just doing a theoretical walkthrough. Like, how would I come to what is a reasonable price range? Let's just say $1. Let's just say in some future year, AMC had $1 in positive annual earnings because the box office is high enough for them to generate a profit. And again, debt doesn't matter at this point. If you can service the debt and throw off positive earnings, how much debt they have is irrelevant. It's just what the market's price is paying essentially for future earnings. So as long as things look like they're on some sort of upward trajectory, and the earnings per share for the year was $1, and you have a 25 PE ratio average for the industry, that would give you a $25 price target. Now, Corex, you're here to keep us all straight. Mm-hmm. Is anything I said correct under the assumptions that I gave?
If you're just doing a theoretical assumption, it sounds all fine and dandy to me.
So really the question is, what is the box office going to be? That's your math that you need to do.
We're not going to have a MOAS.
This channel is not based on selling a MOAS. I know a lot of people like to pigeonhole me into that because we hoped for a short squeeze in 2021, but I'm pretty damn tired of saying We're not in 2021 anymore. And if you want that type of content, there's other places to go for it. We're here to talk about how to profitably trade this company while we wait and see if they get into profitable territory in 2025, 2026.
I'm interested to see what the short interest will be tomorrow, or when the next one comes out, because I'd imagine it's going to be lower after today.
Hopefully, Mr. Narigo, that answered your question. Let me move on to the next comment here. Anya says, Tony is seldom wrong. Oh, come on, Anya. I've been wrong plenty of times. Wired Ape says, in my opinion, one of these days, the shelf offering is going to catch shorts off guard, and they will be faced with a fundamental move on the price. What can you clarify?
I think he's going to say that the ATM is going to be out, and then it's going to trade on more on fundamentals rather than the dilution affecting the price.
You mean like the shelf is good for 2 years, right? So they can just keep on dropping prospectus based on that shelf offering if they need cash. Jersey Recycler says, have you tried the donuts yet? Our next movie that we're going to is on the 19th. I published on Twitter all of my upcoming reservations. I have 4 movies booked, and we're going to go see Abigail on the 19th. That one I paid cash for because on A-List you're only allowed to, make 3 reservations, and I have 3 early screenings. They're like, those screenings that are 5 days before the movie drops, and I wanted to make sure and get a seat for those, so I burned all my A-List slots on those, and we paid $38 and change for tickets. I actually paid for tickets to go see Abigail on Friday. If they have the donuts there, I'm going to buy all of them. I'll come back and do a live with you guys.
Spread of donuts.
The donut hose. Let's go stunt these hoes, media.
Donut.
Yeah.
We got a comment from Duplessis. He says, it's not that the flat earthers think AMC is going to bankrupt themselves. It's that the flat earthers believe that AMC will make them millionaires. I think at one time they thought that AMC would make them millionaires, and bless their hearts, there's a lot of people that told them that, but not this channel. Evans says debt holders come to the table to renegotiate, which they are motivated to do. Then asked for shares. They were assigned shares to do the issuance, manage it on both sides. AMC in this process, in the ATM, I mean, we could have a little debate on this. I'm not going to claim to be the expert. I just read the filings. AMC decides every day how many shares they're going to sell and at what's the minimum price they will take. And then they send those instructions to these sales agents, which include, those 3 or 4 companies that were listed in the ATM. And those people's job is to sell the shares either into the market, into their own little bank, or to shorts that need them. But I haven't really seen evidence that they're selling them to shorts to close out short positions, because all I see is the number of shares short increasing. So I don't know how people have that theory, but some of these people, some of these flat earthers also believe there are billions of naked synthetics, and I don't believe that. I think when Adam Aaron told you there is no evidence of synthetics, Robert, in the airport, that you should probably fucking listen to the CEO. Or when's some YouTuber gonna explain it? I don't need to explain it. He told you in plain English.
Yep.
Come on, guys. Jesus Christ.
If somebody has the evidence, show it to us. I haven't found any.
Not in any of these lawsuits either. No evidence were provided.
Believe me, I've been looking. I wanted that shit to be true too.
We're not in 2021 anymore, Dorothy.
I love it.
All right, Wired following up with some more info for us. He says the current shelf offering allows them to sell from time to time, and if they can raise capital at prices significantly above fair value. Yeah, I see where you're going with that. So if they are going to issue shares in an ATM, they have to file a prospectus. But I think what you're saying, and I think you're correct, is that they can do a direct offering off of that shelf without doing an ATM. Oh man, I've slept once or twice since I read the filing, but I think that might be correct, Wired. And I think that's what you're trying to say. All right. Cigar King ASMR says AMC to $20 to $25. I'd never complain in life again. Yeah, if I could load up at $2 or $3, a load up. All right. What does he mean by load up? Guys, I do not ever on a speculative play overweight my entire portfolio to the point that it would wipe me out. So when I say load up, I mean, if I can accumulate some shares, let's just say that sounds nicer. And at $2 to $3, it's risky. The company's not profitable yet. There's risk of more dilution, yada, yada, yada. Understand the damn risks. If I could accumulate some shares in this price range and one day in a year or two, it's trading for 25, that'd be pretty nice.
It would. Absolutely. I'd love it if it could do that. I don't got my hopes up though.
I thought I had a cigar out here, but I don't see it. So.
You need to hit off the hookah? Put it over the internet to you?
We quit the hookah and never looked back, but I can tell you that Corex, there have been some days in the recent 2 weeks where I'm thinking there's a fucking hookah bar right around the corner, and it's BYO. They're BYOB here. You can bring your own 6-pack.
Oh, nice.
And you just pay a door fee. No, you don't. You only pay a door fee on like Friday night when they have a DJ. You can just go in with a 6-pack and hang out and, pay $20 for a hookah. Not hooker. Richie, he didn't say hooker, Richie. He said hookah. It's the smoking thing. All right. Other questions about the dilution? We've gone over some tinfoil theories. We'll find out if there is I don't know. I don't know if finishing dilution is a event that requires a company to file an 8K under fair disclosure.
I don't think they have to, but they might, just to be like, hey, it's done.
Yeah, I don't think that they have to. But as we were discussing, Mediocre and I earlier today, one would think that AMC would want to get that news out as soon as they possibly could, because it would tend to be bullish for the price.
Where's Rolf? Is he in the chat?
Last time I talked to Rolf, he was getting some barbecue ready.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He's going to share with class, right?
By the way, speaking of barbecue, and then we're going to go into lawsuits. I was randomly doing my shopping the other day because I had run out of keto-friendly food. So I picked up a value pack of ribeye, a value pack of New York strip, which I don't usually buy, but they were a few dollars cheaper. And then as I meandered down the aisle, I saw a picanha. I think that's how you say it. Have you heard of that, Corex?
No, I have not.
They probably don't have any Brazilian steakhouses up there where you're at.
They do, that are just in Kansas City.
All right. So wait, you're in Kansas City, so you do work with that.
It's not that far of a drive.
I know. I'm just teasing. Picanha is a cut of meat. Picanha is a cut of meat that you often get served at a Brazilian steakhouse when they come by with the meat on the stick and they slice it off. And it's one of the cuts that you're familiar with. I don't know, round steak or something, but there's about almost a 1/2-inch fat cap on it. They leave the fat cap on it, and you render that fat as you brown the meat. You can either do it in a cast iron skillet and then throw it in the oven for a few minutes and serve it medium rare, or you can do it out on the grill. Seasoned just with salt and pepper. Oh my gosh. I've been in heaven. And the topper, it's like $6.99 a pound, whereas the prime ribeye was $23 a pound. Good Lord. I'll be able to finish that tomorrow. I bought 2.5 pounds. And
living life high on the hog.
Yeah. I just felt lucky. I just had to share that. I felt lucky. I've never seen that in my local grocery store. I think usually they cut the fat off and just serve it as a round roast or something. But
Tony,
if you ever get,
we got lucky today.
I think we got lucky today too. Absolutely.
We got lucky again, Tony.
I hope it lasts till tomorrow, my friend. All right. Corax, tell us about some lawsuits. You've been keeping up with the lawsuits, and then we'll talk about GTII for a minute and then grab a few more comments from the audience.
Yeah. I had gotten caught up. I checked the, one second here. The Al from Boston lawsuit, no updates on that. They're still waiting on the court for the extension of time that Al asked for. So nothing new there. The newest thing on the Willis v. Aaron case came out. There's two things. The first one that I missed was on the 8th.
For context, let's do it for people that are just joining in or watching on Twitter. Willis versus Aaron. Mr. Willis is also known as the Texan, according to Ethan, and he's the one that is harassing everybody with anti-Semitic and death threats.
Yes,
on Twitter. If you guys are getting someone harassing you with death threats, he gets
usually
booted,
with a lot of Nazi imagery. You know,
yeah,
make it
he gets booted
spicy.
off of Twitter about every 3 days. But if you've been a victim of that, he's in court with Adam Aaron for harassment here in Texas. And so that's who that is. And he changes identity every few days, but that is Mr. Willis. What's the update with the court case? He keeps on delaying here in Texas.
Yeah, he asked for a 4th extension of time attached to the unfinished Ethan statement of facts. The court has reminded him for the 3rd time that if you are making a complaint or amended complaint, it needs to be, you know, a short and plain statement. His 300-page complaint, or 210-page complaint as it currently stands, is not that. So the court rejected, let me scroll down the bottom here. The court denied in part and granted in part the extension. They denied his extension to amend the complaint, and they granted him an extension to the 15th, which was yesterday, to respond to the motion to dismiss and the reapplication by Adam Aaron for the restraining order. He responded to that. I haven't got a chance to read the whole thing, but I can screen share it if you'd like.
Yeah, let's take a look.
In 1 sec here. We'll go. Where is it? Here?
Vinay says, why is he upset with AA? He lost his savings. Yes, that is exactly why.
Yeah, he's boom. So on this, he has said that Adam Aaron did not, his lawyers did not accurately state the time of how things occurred. They were, in my opinion, little niggly things like, okay, maybe they didn't get the exact dates right, but it's not anything that's material to the motion to dismiss. Let me see if I can find the part where I was reading. Oh, yes. So he then goes on to say that they didn't address his whole, here it is. His whole thing on the malicious prosecution. This is the key part here. Let me see if I can.
Now, malicious prosecution, he is claiming that Adam Aaron is harassing him for filing a restraining order for death threats, right?
Correct.
He made death threats and anti-Semitic remarks. Adam Aaron asked for a restraining order, but Mr. Willis is the victim of malicious prosecution. Yes. That's the claim.
Under Texas law, as he cited here, to recover for malicious prosecution in Texas, all 7 of these elements must be true. A criminal action was committed against him. The prosecution was caused by the defendant or with his aid. The action was terminated in the plaintiff's favor. The plaintiff was innocent. The defendant acted without probable cause. The defendant acted with malice, and the criminal proceeding damaged the plaintiff. Now, there's several holes in that. Number 1 being that
20 pages of anti-Semitic and death threat emails
is a probable cause of action. Number 5. The other one was number 3. The action was terminated in the plaintiff's favor. That's not the case. Like, if you want to get down technical brass tacks with the law, he withdrew the case. Like he withdrew on his end the law, the application for the restraining order. So that's the action wasn't terminated in his favor. He just ceased to, pursue the case.
and now he's re-pursuing it.
Correct. So that's another element. And because it was withdrawn, the proceeding never damaged the plaintiff because there was never a finding of guilt or anything like that. So that's the elements that Adam Aron's lawyer brought up. And that's why they only brought those up, because they don't need to win on all 7. They just need to prove that one of the 7 elements are not true. And it completely destroys the malicious prosecution charge.
Do you think it's going to hurt his chances of winning since his lawyer, Ethan Leibovitz, is in jail?
Well, that's my big question with this. Is it looks in the same style as the previous filings. And I know that Ethan has been writing those for him. He's admitted as much. So my thought is either this was already pre-drafted beforehand, or it was sent via his lawyer, or he mailed it to Willis. So that he might have just as well written it while he was currently in the county clink.
I guess really the main thing I'm just curious about, because I don't want to spend all night on this, is do we have a court date yet where this is all going to be decided?
We do not. We are currently waiting for the judge to decide if this will proceed to a trial and discovery. The judge still has to rule on the motion to dismiss.
Okay. Up next, we have another lawsuit, another shareholder suing. Wait, can you tell me again, just really quickly in 2 sentences, what is the status with Al from Boston and Jordan's lawsuit?
We're currently in kind of a sort of a limbo thing where all the defendants have filed for a motion to dismiss. Al from Boston requested an extension of time to amend the complaint a second time. Both the defendants have opposed this extension of time on the basis that he's already done his amended complaint and it has to be approved by the court. We're still waiting for the court to come up with a decision on what they want to do with that. They haven't even, he's on his second extension of time and the court hasn't even ruled on the first.
Okay. So everything's in limbo.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll bring updates to you guys as if anything worth talking about comes up with those. We're not going to be wasting hours going through them as we did with the Allegheny lawsuit, because that was pertinent directly to all of us and how we managed our shares, because the outcome of that case was certainly worth talking about. It was going to impact your position. These are more just curiosities, so we'll just provide some coverage from time to time.
I'll try and give more detailed coverage because I do the lawsuit thing, but
go follow Corex. I'm not going to be updating you guys daily on these, but in fact, I'm not even tracking them. I just check in with him from time to time. The last one is Mr. Donahue George, my good friend down there in Florida, versus Ken Griffin, Citadel, FINRA, DTCC et al. And he has asked you guys to write letters to the judge to let the judge know how you were affected.
Yeah, we will get to
tell
that
us what's up. I saw a video from Donahue that some of the defendants filed some motions back at him, and he's not very happy because now he's going to have to answer these motions.
I wanted to just briefly deal with what his allegations are before we hop into that.
Sure.
he's basically making a civil rights claim and a RICO and violations of his constitutional rights. We already know, since this is a securities claim, that RICO is probably not going to stick. As to the others, I'd still need to do a bit more research on that. He is saying that these entities, Ken Griffin, Citadel Securities, Robinhood, and Webull all worked together, that there's a lack of oversight. Yeah,
like
basically.
A conspiracy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that the SEC, FINRA, and the DTC as regulating bodies stood by and let them do this. He's claiming that there is a contractual agreement between these government entities and United States citizens to enforce the law. And wait a second here. I've got my legal team saying that they would like to know where this contract exists.
It's a fiduciary duty, correct?
Well, under the law, the government...
The DTCC has a fiduciary duty to protect you as an investor.
They do not.
I know. I'm just repeating what I heard on a flat Earth channel.
But like this goes back to like sort of the same things with, like, say the police fails to arrive in time to stop the criminal from violating your rights. Just so you know, and I know this sounds very bad, but it is true. The government does not have they have an obligation, yes, as the government, but their timeliness or their failure to act is not a cause of action.
So you're telling me it is incumbent on us to read company filings and understand the risk factors delineated therein?
Yes.
So if there were 5 pages of risk factors in a 10Q, it's incumbent on me to go read that.
For sure.
But what about the balance sheet and the income statement, or any statements from the company might need to raise cash? Should I read that, or should I just should I rely on the DTCCs, to protect me? I'm confused, Corex. Can you give me some guidance here?
Definitely use your own brain, your own abilities to read those filings. I know they're long and boring, but if you want to take the risk of investing in stocks, then you also have to take if you want the freedom to be able to do that, there are certain obligations that you need to reach out and also own. And that includes reading the entirety of a share distribution offering. That's this share dividend, the ape thing, all the way down to even, the crazy stuff that they disclosed about the whole parallel voting thing, and all that stuff was disclosed. So if you didn't read it, that's not anybody's fault but your own.
Were you here on the live stream, Corex, last week when we dropped the bombshell that the ape preferred share scheme, if you want to call it, as those guys like to call it, it was actually disclosed in the June 2021 10Q, a year before it actually happened?
No, I don't think I was there for that.
Yeah, guys, if you go look in the second quarter 2021 10Q risk factors, guess what showed up right at the time the board was talking about just entering beginning stages of thinking about doing ape, which they ended up actually doing a year later. They disclosed that you could be diluted through an offering of preferred shares. If we had only read that and understood the meaning of what could have happened, even I didn't think that they would actually do something like that. But I only bring that up to say that AMC has been upfront in disclosing stuff. We have, collectively not been very smart in figuring out how bad it was going to get.
Yeah, we should take accountability for our actions. You know what I mean?
And I hold myself in that group. Like I'm holding myself in the collectively not very smart for figuring out how bad it was going to get. We knew that they needed to raise cash. We knew that they needed to dilute, but even the spring and the ape thing on us was a bit of a surprise. But they disclosed it a fucking year in advance. So going to take them to court and saying you tricked us, I don't think that's going to go over very well, because the disclosure was actually there for 4 quarters before it happened, unfortunately.
Yeah. So the first thing here is the motion to dismiss by FINRA. It's pretty standard, I'm betting, but I'll quickly scroll through and see if there's anything else that pops up. As an SRO, FINRA is absolutely immune from civil litigation. I don't know how many times I need to say this, but
hang on, Corex. Someone says this PDF looks fake. They can't even spell FINRA correctly.
Which one?
I don't. Tubby.
Oh, you mean on Donahue's original filing? Yes, he did not. He did not. But I can guarantee you, it is indeed an actual filing on the docket. There's a case number, document number.
What you're seeing is the actual text submitted by the plaintiff and former attorney Donahue George. So if there were any misspellings,
you're being too nice. He's disbarred.
No, I'm always nice, Corex. I'm
not,
nice until it's time to not be nice. But yeah, he just probably, he's got a lot going on here.
Now that is the original one, and it was probably fixed in the amended complaint. Let me pull up 54 and see if it was.
It's just an oversight.
Yes, it was.
He fixed it. All right. Hope you feel better, Tubby Tubby. He did fix it.
FINRA's big argument is that the plaintiff admits that they do find bad actors, and that the punishments being too soft in his opinion doesn't matter, because again, they're immune from civil complaint. The only person, they even bring up the MMTLP case, Tawil versus FINRA, that you can go see on my channel.
Who is they? Is this the defendants or Mr. George bringing this up?
Defendants.
Okay.
This would be FINRA. That basically, when an SRO acts in the aegis under the Security Act, delegated authority, it is absolutely immune from suit for the improper performance of regulatory, adjudicatory, or prosecutorial duties delegated to it by the SEC. The only one that can sue them is the SEC.
Correct. I want to ask Mr. Joseph Perez's question for you and have you read that answer back, or ad lib in plain English for all of us like me that are a little bit slow. Joseph says, how can FINRA be immune of committing fraud?
They are okay.
I know we've gone over this many times in many different cases, not even relating to AMC, but for the folks who haven't been tuning into the channel or your channel or any of the other tickers that are suing FINRA, walk us through, because I know you know the answer. How can FINRA be immune from committing fraud?
The key there is it's a misunderstanding of the law. They are not immune from fraud. They are immune from civil claims for fraud. So me and you and Tony and all of us cannot sue FINRA. The only entity that can sue FINRA is the SEC or the DOJ. So they are not immune from fraud. They are immune from civil actions based on either fraud or their lack of action. If they committed fraud, if there's proof of it, then the SEC is well within their right to make charges against FINRA. But we as individual citizens are not.
Now, Corex, to bring this home for Mr. Perez, is this your opinion, or have you read this in adjudicated cases where FINRA used that very language as a defense?
It's actual law, and it's in the highlighted stuff here. I mean, they cite Tawil, they cite Series 7 broker qualification exam, which is a one that was against NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange. It's also an SRO. Again, here in Gallagher v. FINRA, Weissman, Sparta Surgical, there's a whole slew of case law that supports that argument. So
we're not trying to throw a turd in the punch bowl and tell you guys, Mr. George is wrong. We're just saying there is established case law that FINRA is immune from civil prosecution. And we just want you to understand it is what it is. We might not like that. I don't like it. I don't know how Corex feels about it.
And if you don't like it, my argument would be go to your congressman and get the law changed.
Right. This is where we need to take some action.
What's my famous line?
Understand what the law is, understand what defense they're going to use. And if you don't like that, let's quit beating our head against the door filing frivolous lawsuits, which look good for YouTube views, but which aren't going to go anywhere. And let's actually ask Congress to change the law.
What's my famous line, Tony, when I tell people if you want to change, make market more fair, what do you need to do?
Throw out your congressman. Put in one that's actually interested in helping us.
You got to change Congress if you want to make change. It's not going to happen otherwise.
I only bring this up because this next part up, the rest of it is basically their normal SRO defenses. But this one, my legal team is telling me that I should probably bring up that FINRA brings up that there is no contract and that the plaintiff does not establish any contract between FINRA and himself or the general public at large or the SEC or anything like that. He simply blanket asserts it, and therefore he has failed to state a claim under which relief can be granted. Let's see if there's anything different in any of these other motions to dismiss. Which one is this?
Tubby says FINRA is a self-policing organization. They're a SRO, self-regulating organization, only held accountable by the SEC.
Correct. So they are self-regulatory in the fact that they self-regulate the securities markets and the banks that are under the FINRA and the brokers and things like that, but they are still regulated by the SEC.
The other problem is, and I'm not going to argue with you guys that I couldn't. No one could make an argument about this, that FINRA is a body consisting of members of the entire frickin' market, right? That they have people, I don't know, you can go look it up, but let's just say I'll pull some names from random, and I bet all of these organizations have someone on FINRA's board or managing body, people like Citadel, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. But that, even though that makes me very angry, it just is relevant, for me to know that in case I ever decided to get a wild hair and go try and sue FINRA, that as angry as I'm about all of that, they have basically protected status from civil lawsuits. Tony. So I just kind of know that throws the onus back on me to make sure I'm making smart trading decisions and reading 10 Qs and risk factors, because the government ain't going to be here to help me. And neither is the court system.
Tony, put up Tubby's last comment. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I agree with you, Tubby.
He says Congress people are bought and paid for by the bankers that fund their elections. Amen, brother. Amen. 100%. They have no fear of consequences with their rich patrons hurting ordinary people. I don't think almost anyone that disagrees with that.
So the reason why I say this is because I tell people the only way to make change in the market is to change Congress, right? But I agree with this statement here. And that's why the corruption's never going to change, in my opinion. So I'm not willing to risk my money. And I'm sorry to everybody, but that's the way I feel about it.
And I would say even if they were paid and bought off for, I mean, at the end of the day, the votes are the votes, and you need to be aware of what Congress members have those sorts of ties and obligations, and grassroots efforts still work. I mean, I personally may not be a fan of Trump, but I think that that's a great example of someone who, despite what everyone in the establishment thinks about him, somehow still is popular with the Republican Party and is able to win. Well, I mean, it looks like he pretty much has won the nomination. I don't think I'd get any disagreement of that. So I would say that even if that statement was true, that does not mean that you're powerless.
No, I think people should fight to repair Congress, right? But I don't want.
It's an uphill battle.
Political stuff, right? It is. It's an uphill battle. Like there's some Congress men and women that I like that in insider trade, and it's obvious that they do that. So I don't know, right?
And I'd also say that people need to stop getting stuck in the binary that I'd say all of us do of party affiliation. If there's someone that's willing to support this cause of better regulated markets, whether it be an R, a D, an L, or G after their name, it doesn't matter. Maybe it's time that we start looking at doing the steps that are necessary to get the change
Yeah,
that we want.
I want to be absolutely clear. Probably not one of us on the panel think that Congress or SEC or FINRA, none of them are on our side. The
Agreed.
problem that we're going to run into and continue to run into, and I've seen countless people run into it over the last 3 years, is the deck is stacked against retail traders bringing these civil complaints. So you can still pursue them. Hey, knock yourself out. I don't care. But I think it's also points out the importance of becoming more educated in why you should read filings, understand what you're investing in, limit your risk if it's a speculative trade, because daddy ain't coming to save you if you fuck up.
Yeah.
That's really the point.
The next one here, docket ID 106, is the DTC motion to dismiss. It's pretty much the same as FINRA. So let's see if this other one, this is Citadel's motion to dismiss. Let's see if you guys want to keep talking while I try and eye over this for anything that's.
I see
different.
that Salty Ape is throwing up some numbers from the ATM offering. I'm not sure what your last comment was there, sir, but yes, from what I understand, from what I read, and we talked about here a couple of weeks ago, the maximum number of shares the AMC can sell pursuant to the current ATM is 833.3 million. And let me just throw up the chart here, and we'll go through scenario number 2 because we've been carefully tracking this every day. Let me make this a little bigger for you guys. Scenario 2 being that, AMC wants to raise $250 million. My model's showing that, they could be done, but, realistically, we think they're somewhere around 206 billion. They're 82% complete on their dollar amount. I'm hoping that they're done. This was just an estimate, so I could see how far along we are.
Yeah,
but we'll only find out which scenario, if any, was correct when they announce that they're done. And then
the purpose was to see if we can make it to earnings, right? How long it would take?
Yeah, if they could finish raising money before earnings. If this model is correct, they've sold about 62 million, and if we add these two together, that's 83 million. So they have a maximum of 21.3 million left to finish this dilution, and that yields a certain price with the remaining shares that they're constrained by to finish raising their money. And that is at the bottom of this chart, $2.05. If they sold the remaining 21 million at $2.05, they could still complete the 250 million raise. We're estimating that there's somewhere, based on today's volume and share price, which I'm basically using a average of the VWAP for the day. So $2.65 today, that they're around $3.32 is the average price that they've sold shares at. We'll find out. This is just for fun. I'd much rather hear in the morning that they're done than scenario 2 be correct. It's not about me being right. It's just to give us a framework for making our own trading choices.
Before we hop back onto this, I just wanted to deal with not money advice's question there.
Yeah.
From my understanding with MMTLP and Congress, now this is unconfirmed. This is only from people that, you get your backroom talks with the different congressmen. So I cannot verify sources on this, but my understanding is that generally Congress is aligned with FINRA. And I don't want to make that sound like they're aligned against you, but their general belief is that MMTLP shareholders were harmed. The people that did the harm, though, are, Palacaris and Berta, and McCabe hasn't been mentioned yet. So they believe that the corporate entities in charge of that transaction are the wrongdoers, and that they perpetuated a pump and dump, more or less, on MMTLP shareholders.
Didn't the company executives get a Wells notice?
Yes. Berta,
so do we have any updates? Do you know if there's any updates on what that?
The only updates that I can glean from it is that when Congress asked them for comment and to, hearings and everything, the SEC said that they do not comment on ongoing investigations. There's been some back channel talks, from my understanding, that certain congressmen have been, or congresswomen, either or, have stated have been going on. But the fact that the SEC is saying that they don't comment on ongoing investigations would suggest that they are still investigating Berta and Palacaris.
All right.
So
I
just
don't
wanna-
follow MMTLP other than if I see it cross my feed, I'll read it, but I'm not actively following it every day.
Right. The only thing I want to bring up here in the Citadel one was what I think is key for understanding for people who are, because I know it gets brought up in a bunch of different communities, not just the AMC community. I've seen it brought up with the Bed Bath & Beyond folks and a bunch of different people for RICO charges. And they give a clear outline for what is the standard for pleading a civil RICO claim, which is that the defendants operated or managed an enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity that included at least 2 predicate acts of racketeering which caused injury to the business or property of the plaintiff. That's a bit more complicated area of the law. I'll probably have to, I guess, do a video on it at some point. But racketeering is a very complex part of the law. And just because you think that someone orchestrated some sort of conspiracy, whether it be market manipulation or whatever, first of all, that's not necessarily racketeering under the RICO Act, because it has to be like a managed pattern of behavior, all the racketeering elements that I just mentioned. And also for all securities claims under the SLURA, you cannot bring a RICO claim styled as a securities violation. So that's all out the window.
Unless the defendant has already been prosecuted by the SEC, right? For a criminal.
So you could, like, say, make a racketeering charge if you could formulate one against, like, Sam Bankman-Fried, because he's already been charged with criminal securities violations. That would be a rough example.
I'm not a RICO expert, but RICO lawyers that I've researched and heard talk, I've heard them say very few people actually understand what they're talking about when they throw out the words RICO violation, and it's much more complex than just putting out a tweet saying this is clearly a RICO violation. It's a difficult claim to bring, just in period. It's a difficult claim to bring, and even more difficult to bring in a securities violation because of what Corax just said. Yeah.
This next one, I'm not going to go through the whole one, but Citadel has moved for a stay on discovery. The reason why this has come up is because this case has been kind of in a weird limbo state where there was a complaint, then they amended the complaint. Donahue amended the complaint. Then there was this weird limbo thing where they were having trouble with the scheduling. It got appealed to the Circuit Court of Appeals. They remanded back down to the court without an opinion. There was a bunch of other fumbling around. They set a court. See, this was the confusion I had last time we talked about. They set a court date and everything, but they didn't really go through this process that we're going through here, where the defendants get their chance for their motion to dismiss or summary judgment or whatever things they wanted to do before a trial. And so they're saying, hey, I know we've got a trial scheduled, but we've got these motions to dismiss. And if the court approves the motion to dismiss, then we're doing this discovery for nothing. So until we decide on these motions to dismiss, can we stay discovery?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I heard that was one of his major complaints, right? He was saying that they wanted to stall discovery. And so what you're saying is the reason for that is because the defendants actually think they can get the case dismissed. And
this is just a procedural thing. If the motion to dismiss is denied, you're going to get discovery anyway.
Right.
They're just saying
let's do it in the right order. And judge, you need to hear these motions to dismiss first and decide on that.
Correct.
And depending on what you decide, then we go into discovery phase or not.
Correct.
Okay. That makes more sense now.
Let's see what number 109 is. This is Robinhood's motion to dismiss. I'm going to quickly scan, but I bet it's just the same, that it's a failure to state a claim, and the RICO charges. They did not establish the 6-part test for civil RICO. 110 is FINRA clarifications regarding motion to dismiss. Plaintiff filed the first amended complaint. Plaintiff filed a second amended complaint, docket ID 54. The extent the court determines that the first amended complaint is operative, FINRA states that the arguments contained in its pleadings in its pending motion to dismiss apply equally to the first amended complaint and likewise move to dismiss with prejudice. Okay, they're just clarifying that all these arguments that went with the first amended complaint, we're just applying them to the second one as well.
Any idea when the judge is going to be ruling on the motion to dismiss?
I have no idea, because I figured that in the Al from Boston case that would get handled quickly, and we were still waiting on that. So federal courts move at their own pace, and that can be, if the judge is on top of it, we can go and be done, or we can be sitting here watching a snail trying to crawl across Tony's garden.
Not Money Advice wants to know, Corex, if you have reviewed Frank Black and Southeast Investments versus FINRA.
I have not. I will copy paste that. If he has a case number, though, that would be good.
It can be problematic to search these things out. Not Money Advice. So if you have a case number, drop it in the chat and I'll put it up on the screen for Corex. That will expedite him looking up the case. And he's your guy to look it up.
Go ahead and handle questions while I put that.
I'm going on to Joseph says, Tony, look how hard Citadel and other hedge funds are fighting the CAT system transparency, even though we don't have evidence because everything is hidden because fraud, it's all over. Yeah. So, I understand what you're saying, Joseph, and potentially that could be one of the reasons why they're fighting it. Another reason could be it's just a lot of extra
paperwork that they have to pay for.
Yeah, it's a lot of extra. I want to use the word man hours, but that's not really the right word. It's a lot of extra work for them to log all of this stuff. And hey, I'm glad that we're getting the consolidated audit trail. But the CAT system is designed to catch things after the fact. So if something bad happens, then the auditors at the SEC have a way to go back and recreate things with much more data points than currently exist in the system. So maybe you're right, Joseph. Maybe they don't want it because they don't want to have more data points they can be investigated, or maybe they just don't want all the extra work and cost and IT involved with implementing it. I don't know. CAT is not really one of the talking points on my channel because it's not going to affect how I trade. So I don't talk about it.
Okay. Docket ID 111 is a letter from John Hartronet addressing the court and the issues. This is the only letter so far that has been arrived and has been put on the docket. There may be other letters out there, but until they appear on the docket, I'm not aware of them. You mentioned that Donahue had asked for letters. I quickly scanned over it. I don't see any legal arguments here, but I would point out that letters like this would be sort of not really fall under the whole amicus curiae, friend of the court kind of brief, where you basically, hey, I'm not a party to this case, but I have an interest in this case. And here's some arguments that neither parties have brought up that I want to see the court address that are pertinent to this issue. So the problem is the letter doesn't really give any legal arguments or anything that the court would consider. So it'll probably end up unfortunately in the round file, but that's sort of what Donahue George didn't style it in that manner or phrase in that style, but I would assume that the court would consider these letters in that manner. But again, unless you're bringing up a legal argument or something that the court can actually consider, it's not going to be particularly helpful to Donahue's case.
Don't forget, guys, Donahue is asking you to write letters to the judge. So if you feel like that's something you want to do, he would appreciate your letters.
And then let me see if there was one last docket item. Let's see if there was anything important there.
Maximus wants to know if you are a blues guitar player, Corax, due to your outfit.
No,
the misunderstood outfit. Are you a private investigator or a secret undercover blues guitar player?
I'd like to think I'm a private investigator, but not really.
They want to know
guitar is not my thing. Bass is where it's at. If you're going to go with blues band for me, boom, 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 boom. I'll get a walking bass line going for us.
What were you saying, Mediocre?
I said they want to know if you're Inspector Gadget.
You know what? Funny you should mention that, because I was doing a market live stream and Platinum Sparkles had said that. And so closing out the live stream, we played the Inspector Gadget theme.
Oh, God, that's funny.
This last motion is just the DTCC joining the other motion to stay discovery. So nothing particularly new there. And that pretty much wraps things up with this.
Not Money Advice threw up is this the case that we were referencing earlier?
Yeah, it looks like
the one that.
Cool. I will take
so
that.
There's your case number, if that is the correct case.
Or ma'am.
All right, guys. Let's talk GTII real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have their 10K open, and not to rub salt into any wounds, but I just want to point out
chart.
What?
I gotta go look at his chart.
Oh yeah, let's look at.
Hey, you're not gonna want to look at that chart.
I'm gonna bring up the 10K, but that's a good idea, Mediocre. Let's bring up the chart, and I don't want to lose a lot of viewers here, but I feel like a lot of people have misunderstood my very occasional coverage. Like, I literally only talk about GTII once a year, and people for whatever reason think I'm trying to kill their play. Guys,
I think the company's doing a pretty good job of killing.
Yeah, I don't talk about GTII enough to kill your play. The company's doing a good job themselves. I
never look at this thing, but from what I see, it can't even break over to 13.
2022, when Lou, our good friend Lou, God rest his soul, was pumping this thing. It ran up to 897, and it's currently trading at 20 cents. The allegation from certain people on Twitter is that the daily short volume should be accumulated, added up, and counted as naked shorts. In which case, you do understand every stock ticker out there has daily short volume, and you're implying that every ticker out there has billions and billions of naked shorts. It's not really how it works, guys, but if you're not really savvy on trading, I could understand how the hucksters out there could trick you with talk like that. Certain YouTubers with look like George Washington, and certain Twitter users that are in the porcine. Is it porcine or porcine species? Smells like bacon. At any rate, here's your stock. It went from 20 cents to $9, now back down to 20 cents. Yeah, let's look at the why.
What do they even do? What do they make? What is this?
They make nothing. They make nothing. They have no fucking business.
Oh my
God. Oh boy.
They have no fucking revenue.
It looks like got rejected on the 90-day and then came back down.
This is the problem. And when I talk about GTII, the issue I have with them is they have no fucking company. This is a shell company. Dare I say, potentially, some have called it a sham company. Here's your revenue for the last 2 years. The last 2 years, zero revenue. 2022, when I talked about it once, no revenue. Why did I say, even if it is being shorted, why wouldn't you short it? They've got no revenue. But let's just put the shorts aside for a second. Let's look at how awful this company is being managed. No revenue in 2022. No revenue in 2023. Operating loss in 2022, when Lou was pumping it, was $13 million. As they've sucked even more people into this scam over the last couple of years.
Did they like 4x the amount of money they're losing
the
operating
net
losses
loss in 2023 just reported today, $83 million operating
Money
loss.
furnace.
I just want to go on the
furnace.
record and say I didn't know shit about this company. Never talked about it.
I haven't looked at a
Okay.
10K, but I knew this was what
Now,
this was gonna
here's
be
one
about.
other
I didn't
thing.
know
They
it was
have
that
nothing on their
bad.
balance sheet. They have nothing on their balance sheet measurable other than the cash that they raised by diluting shareholders. And they had $14.9 million of goodwill for some gold certificate they owned. Guess what they did this year, guys? Just announced today, a complete write-off of the goodwill, $14.9 million. Balance sheet evaporated. $14.9 million gone.
I'm gonna stick with Ford.
I know, we're kidding, right? Right?
Bringing their total losses for 2023, just reported today, up 8x from last year to a total of $97 million on no income. And this is why bless your hearts, I love you guys. I know you're looking for the next short squeeze. I know it's a siren song when these people on Twitter with a New York accent speak like they know what the fuck they're talking about. But you are getting in line to walk off a cliff supporting a company that has no income and massive losses. And
Where do
so
they get
management was never on your side in this
Let me ask
company.
you guys a question. Where do they get their income when they're not generating revenue? Where do they get their money to pay their
Get it
debts?
From
you.
shareholders,
You.
from dilution. But you guys want to complain about Mullen or AMC. I mean, Mullen at least has a little
at least
bit
has
of
revenue.
At least they have a little revenue now. These guys haven't tried shit.
I'm gonna be serious.
Why would you think this management is on your side?
I want to be serious with the audience and say this. Like, seriously, if they have no revenue, no income, they have no choice but to dilute their shareholders, right? That's what I want you guys to take from this. If anything else,
It just
They don't
breaks
have a
my
choice.
heart to see people getting tricked by these people pushing this company as let's save GTII. What are you saving? What are you saving? You're saving some old man's retirement who's selling shares every month. That's what you're saving. And let's not even get into, I'm not even going to go into it, all the contractors GTII has paid, which I read as stock promoters. It's all here in the 10K. Go read it or go look up on Twitter. Total current assets, 1.2 million. Total current liabilities, 8.3 million. So they have a 7x more liabilities than they have assets. What do you think is going to happen next? More dilution would be my guess, because they have nothing. There's nothing on this balance sheet. I don't. All I'm saying is, please stop listening to people if you haven't read the financial statements. If you want to get behind a company and you tell me, I understand they have no revenue, I understand they're diluting us to pay themselves, but I still want to support this company so that maybe one day they can sign a deal and bring some fledgling company under their wing and get them out there, because this is a shell company designed to start up other companies, but they haven't done jack shit ever. If you want to tell me that you've read all that, you understand that, and you still want to support it, I say, God bless you, go right ahead. But I would guarantee you 99% of people don't know this. In fact, there's a lawyer now suing GTII who's been in the play, as I understand, for a couple years and just opened up the financial statements. He was like, I heard him on a live stream, I was shocked to find out this company has no revenue. Ouch, that hurts me to hear an attorney saying I'm going to have to sue management because they're not trying to generate any revenue.
Yeah.
Buddy, it's been like that for 2 years.
Yeah.
How are you just figuring this out? Anyways, that's all I got to say about GTI.
That's what happens when you get sucked into that cult group think.
I'm not against any of you that invested in GTII. I'm against the people that are pumping it as a short squeeze play.
100%.
And then their little minions who say it's not about the fundamentals. We're here to squeeze the shorts.
It's always about the fundamentals.
It's always about the fundamentals. Even when I talk about AMC, it's about the fundamentals. It's about the balance sheet. If you don't understand the balance sheet, you're not going to understand why they're diluting.
I don't think you can squeeze it short if there's no revenue and the fundamentals are bad.
You can't squeeze a short when the company like GTII is continually
because even if you push
diluting.
it back up, they're just going to take more positions up high and then just wait.
The higher
because it's inevitably going to come back down.
If you push the price of GTII up, you're handing management a golden ticket to dilute you and line their own pockets even more. And what do I mean by that? Because couldn't you say Adam Aaron's lining his own pockets? Maybe, but you can see the direct evidence of the draws of the executives in this 10K. You can see, and in the Form 4s, you can see their monthly draws where they're selling shares every month to pay themselves. This is not my opinion. This is factual evidence.
You want to
Monthly.
know what's a possible squeeze? Well, it was. I don't know. People you're going to want to hear this, but if you look at the short interest on Cinemark, it's over 20%, but nobody wants to talk about that. It's 100% institutional owned. Nobody wants to talk about that.
Why would it be institutional owned? Mediocre. What would be a couple of your leading theories?
Why do I think it is?
Yeah.
Because it's profitable, number one.
Correct.
They have low overhead, so their balance sheet's good. I mean, that's one of my main ones. Why it's shorted, I couldn't really tell you that part.
I have an idea why it's being shorted. There are some convertible bonds on their balance sheet, and I think that there is some dilution risk that's not being talked about. And thank you to the gentleman on Twitter who pointed that out to me, because I've gone through Cinemark's filings many times at a high level, and I've done quarterly videos on them just to help you guys understand why Cinemark is doing better than AMC. But it always was a little mysterious to me too. Why the heck are they being shorted?
The only reason why I bring this up, Tony,
there's
is
some convertibles, and I think there's upcoming dilution risk.
Jealous Money asks, what is a short squeeze play then, Tony? And I would say that if you were going to look at a short squeeze play, it would be something like a Cinemark with high short interest, but a profitable company.
Yeah. Here's the problem, guys, with GTII and Finger and ZJYL. There is no short interest. Go look at the reports, the reported short interest. And I've said this to you guys for 3 years. I'm not interested in talking about something as a short squeeze play unless there is reported short interest at a minimum of 20%.
So I want to say this. I'm
for
not pushing
GTII and Finger, it's been like 1%, 4%. And so since there is no short interest, these scammers on Twitter change the definition, and they, look over here, short volume. Let's call that short interest. And let's add it up every day until we have 200, 400, 600 billion, and we can sell this to these dipshits.
And I'd add,
that's how they think of you. You're just targets for them. They're making up numbers, making up their own definitions.
But I will say this. I want people to understand this. Like, I have zero position in Cinemark. I just used it as an example because it's a profitable company and has short interest. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying that that's a short squeeze play. I never said that.
And I would say, as someone who has shorted before, a lot of these penny stock shitco companies, they don't have a really high short interest because there's just not shares out there to short. Most of the people who hold these shitco companies are people like, average investors, and most of them don't have enough money in their account to activate share lending programs. And so even if you wanted to short this crap company, you're fighting over the fistful of shares on a cost to borrow that's really high. So you're making the move needs to happen now. So like, you're never going to see a short squeeze play because there's just not enough shorts there. There's not enough volume or shares to generate a situation in which a short would come in and go, I want to short that stock. It's not only bad, but there's enough liquidity of shares that I could borrow to short the company. You need a company that's got bad fundamentals, but it's liquid enough that you could actually get a position in it.
Now, I'm not saying that firms like Alpine or Angels, right? There's shitty lenders out there all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd love to see all of them be driven into the dirt, and that's fine. Bankrupt Alpine, but I'm just suggesting that you guys have been misled by people who what's the word, conflate short volume with short interest to get you to buy a stock, when we have reasonable belief that these very same people are being paid by the company per filings that you can go look up in the company documents. Their names are in them. It's all on Twitter if you want to go find it. This is not just someone like alleging on Twitter that I'm being paid, which I'm not. No one pays me. We have actual documents where these people's names are in them. I think they're taking advantage of people for their own gain.
And to the other side of that Alpine thing, I would say that they're definitely skeezy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting a blessing upon their practices, but they exist for the same reason that, that title loan places exist. Why, cash advance places exist. They exist to give money to these companies that can't get credit anywhere else.
And who should be blamed? The CEO for signing the deal.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was getting to.
You guys want to go blame Alpine, but you're going to give the CEO a free pass for being a dumbass for signing a deal with a predatory company? That's the CEO.
Or not managing the company where they can't get an actual good credit loan. Or
not managing the company to sign one damn deal and bring in some revenue. Like, understand who the real bad guy is here. It's the CEO of GTII. He's the one that's letting you down. Alpine,
absolutely.
But executive's fault. All right. What other questions y'all got so we can wrap this up? We don't want to be on too late. I want to be up early in the morning and see if we got any 8K drops.
I'm tired.
Correct. You got anything else for us?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm really interested and excited, though, next week. Next week, we got Tesla earnings, and then the week after that, we got FOMC. Should be an exciting next 2 weeks.
I'm going to be live streaming the Tesla earnings, guys. If you're looking for a place to hang out and you want to listen in on that call, join me on that. I've got several earnings calls scheduled in the next week, 4 of them so far. And we're just waiting on the AMC. And I think Cinemark should be reporting soon too.
I'll definitely drop in on that. I have a vested interest in listening to the Tesla earnings this time around.
Not Money Advice says, Tony, did you get any puts on HELE? That's Helen, isn't it?
I've heard of that one.
Helen of Troy. So that one has been pushed by Cahodes for quite some time as having corrupt management and about to implode. And maybe that's the case. I'm not following it enough to know.
I haven't been following it in a while. It's been on my list of things to put or shorts. I think the much better one, if you're going to get puts, and I would, watch the chart, watch things as far as it goes. But I think Cahodes shorts, Wayfair is the much better one. The company is functionally insolvent. It's losing money. It's been a pretty bad case there. Between those two that he's proffered, Wayfair W is the one that I would pick of his call outs.
If I was buying puts on HELE, I'd look for a run up and then hope that Cahodes is right and that the shorts like him push it back down. But I don't have any active investment in this play right now.
And I will say, after mentioning Wayfair, I do have a short position in it, just for full disclosure.
Short or puts?
Short.
Okay. Ticker on Wayfair is W. Is this a private equity deal, Corex?
Oh my
Every deal's a private
God.
equity deal when you're looking for it. When you got a bias to confirm.
$90 in August of 2023, bouncing between 39 to 69, 48
Got an
to
ugly,
71.
fugly balance sheet.
Yeah, I'm assuming correct. You have an exit somewhere planned between 47 and 30.
Yeah.
Are you hoping for bankruptcy?
I mean, like I've told you, I'm kind of in the situation. As long as the Fed keeps rates high right now, I like you said, 30 or 40 would be nice. It'd be good enough for me. But if the Fed's going to keep rates higher, the cost to borrow, let me check on Wayfair real quick. The cost to borrow on Wayfair is currently 30 basis points, which means that I can just sit there and get the leverage, the arbitrage profit of about 4% interest per month on an annualized rate. So long as it doesn't move against me, I can sit there as long as I fucking want to.
Tubby Tubby says they are afraid of us alone. We are sheep to be fleeced and slaughtered, but we are Tyler Durden. Do they really think they can mess with us much longer? That is, I mean, I love the rally cry, but we need to band together and change out Congress is really what we need to do. They have waged financial war on us since 2021. I'll just, as we're wrapping up here, I will say that my preference, if I'm going to battle on a company that's losing money, I want to manage my risk and not put too much in it in case I don't win. And I allocate the bulk of my dollars, my investment dollars, to companies that are profitable, because these are tough battles, guys. These are tough battles.
Yeah, you're right. They haven't been easy, Tony. And all these stocks been brutal.
Yeah, it's a lot different when you're having to play this game in a high interest rate environment.
Grandpa Barney, are you ready to come on and say hi to folks? He never answered me before. I see Not Money Advice says you may not want to be Adam Aaron if certain discovery is received and it has proof. I'm still waiting for Grandpa Barney to come in and show us his face. Joseph says, I have not been trapped in another play ever since I started doing calls and puts on indexes. That makes us happy to hear that you're figuring out a strategy to make money. And really,
indexes are the way to go.
One thing that I really want to make sure we're voicing for you guys, to be one of the voices that still likes these plays, these speculative plays. I still like them because if we guess the timing right, the returns can be outsized, but you have to manage your risk, size your risk, and as you have done, Joseph, find strategies to mitigate the risk. So good job on that.
I just happened to see a video pop up in my notifications. What's this talk about Hershey, Tony? Pimp one of your videos.
Yeah, I put out, I think so far, because it has been kind of dead in the AMC land. There wasn't much going on other than waiting for the dilution to be done. I was like, people always say I never talk about other stocks. Let me do some updates on stocks that we have made money on. Stocks that I have traded in and out of, made pretty decent returns, blue chip, profitable companies, some that are coming back into my watch zone, and some new ones. So I did updates on Disney, CVS, Hershey, and Tesla today and yesterday. Here's the play on Hershey, Corex. Mm-hmm. As you know, the price of cocoa, due to weather conditions and other factors over in Africa affecting the crop yields, the price of cocoa is topped yesterday when I checked $10,500 per ton, which,
man, that's why my almond joys are going up in price.
Yeah, more pricey than copper. And normal is in the $2,000 range, and we're at $10,500 with reports from analysts that it may see $12,500 in the next 3 months. So this is impacting Hershey's bottom line. on because it's 1/5 of their cost of goods, cocoa.
Mm-hmm.
So understandably, Hershey's getting squeezed on their profits, and they're getting squeezed two ways. Inflation generally has forced them to raise prices, and then consumers are forced to make decision. Do I buy Hamburger Helper or do I buy that Almond Joy that now costs 50% more? So they're getting squeezed on the aisle, but they're also getting squeezed from their cost of goods. And the only reason I did the Hershey's video is I want to point out that I'm going to be watching the price of Hershey to come down as the price of chocolate cocoa goes up. And there'll be some magic point,
Go the other way,
where things are going to change. And I can't tell you if that's going to be this week, next month, 6 months from now, but I'm going to be looking for that point. And I just, I call out these type of plays in the Discord as I find them. And I don't always make YouTube videos on them because like 150 people have watched that.
Tony, how are you going to
well,
know?
I'm going to be watching it now.
150
like,
people probably have watched the Hershey video. I don't know why people are so against hearing about value stock plays from profitable blue chip companies that are undergoing a temporary situation that has decimated their price.
I
plays,
don't,
Tony, right?
I don't get it either, because I will tell you, the vast majority of these big plays that I've made the bang bucks on, like, two bagger or whatever, they've been on these value plays. People need to wake up. That's where you make the money.
Even if you overbought Hershey this week and it drops to $150 in 2 years, look at their fucking track record. You're probably going to be okay. You're not going to be dealing with a company that is diluting you every 3 months.
They got call options, Tony?
Am I doing call options on Hershey? I'm not,
No,
because I don't know the timing.
They have them.
They have options, sure. And they have a sweet dividend, which has been raised every year for the past 48 years.
You could say,
now it's expensive, mediocre. Not everybody can buy 100 shares of $180 stock just to sell call options on it, covered calls. But you could still accumulate some shares at a point where you feel like the price is bottoming out and the price of cocoa is topping out, and you're probably going to be okay in a year or two as cocoa prices drop and inflation drops and Hershey's earnings. It's getting hammered right now because they're having to downgrade their own earnings because of all these factors. When they say the water's clear, we're going to be fine next year, this thing will shoot back up. Mark my words. It's all about timing, though. So the video Corax is just a call out to start watching this one.
And it's something I might add to my watch list, because that's kind of what I'm in. I'm in bonds right now because I expect, it looks like the market's pricing in rate cuts in September. And so once September comes and I unload a bunch of these bonds, I'm going to be looking at the equity market going, what's undervalued? What's gotten beaten up? What's the good stuff here? And so that'll definitely be on my watch list.
Now, granted, you're not going to make 3,000% on these, right? But on Disney, for example, when I called it out at $83 and continued to buy it as it went down to 77, that was a 55% return in 6 months, which is over 100% return annualized. If you guys are sneezing at 100% annual returns, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what
in stereo.
My goal is to beat the indexes by carefully selecting profitable companies that are out of favor at the moment. The due diligence, the real work, is to separate your emotions, separate your politics, spend a few days digging through the financials, and then ask yourself, can this company that has a 100-year track record steer out of this?
Tony, grab Dallas Money's comment, and please talk to me about our Waco factory.
AMC makes chocolate. Is that the one?
Yeah. Tell me about AMC's
AMC factory. Contracts.
You mean we don't have a Waco factory?
We don't own a factory, unfortunately, and we don't own a vineyard either, or nor do we own a popcorn factory. But we do contract some of these things out and make high markups when people buy them when you go visit the theater. So fantastic extra product line for the company to have. Beautiful. Love it.
Man, I wanted to own a
Oh,
lot.
Sparky, I think he's talking about Cinemark. The convertibles are in the money. They will get converted before 2025. This is Cinemark. If I recall correctly, Sparky, and you can fact check me on this, I think the debt that is coming due is 600 to 650 million. And of that, around 400 to 425 is convertible bonds. And yes, they're in the money or very close in the money. So that was kind of my like aha moment on why Cinemark might be getting shorted, and might be a good time when you see a run up in Cinemark over $20 to buy some puts on it. Actually, if you think that those convertible bonds are going to convert, go read the filings, understand the convertibles, make up your own mind, and we'll see. We'll see. I'm definitely, it's on my list of things to consider. I haven't made a play with puts on Cinemark yet. Andrew says mediocre needs a cool looking beret.
You got to get in the hat game.
People keep on asking you to wear a hat, mediocre. We're going to make it a show rule.
You got a cowboy hat. I got a trilby.
What do you want me to throw on, a fedora?
I mean, you could.
Walt says, good evening, Tony, mediocre, and Corax. We should all bank on the AMC GME learning experience and use it in other investments.
Absolutely.
I got a Walt. This is for you, buddy. Even if you lost money in any one of these plays, BBIG, TR, Troika, Q, BBBY, the list goes on and on. AMC, GameStop. If you lost money, I want you to take the most positive spin on it that you can. Consider it tuition, because we've all lost money in various plays over the years. Take that as tuition. Don't give up. Apply your learnings. Double down your efforts. Redouble your resolve to begin reading filings, understand financial statements, understand when you're investing in a company that has risk of dilution, i.e., they do not generate profits, and learn to scale your risk. And then you can also look at doing some things when you're in these risky plays, like Mediocre and I and many people in our Discord do, which I did not do, unfortunately, in AMC in 2021, 2022, or 2023, but I changed up the game, started selling covered calls and selling cash secured puts to lower my basis, to make sure I have the most de-risked cost basis possible.
There was a lot of stuff
times.
We did the 8 conversion, which helped us out. I made a lot of money on that. I'll admit it.
And
and then the fact that we want to generate income, right? And AMC is a volatile stock. It moves. And any stock that moves, there's money to be made if you understand trading, right?
There's a lot of stocks, that we own that you're selling covered calls on that just do this, right? They only trade flat within a certain volatility range, and you can sell covered calls for income generation, like Mediocre has said. Unfortunately for AMC, even though that might have been the strategy, because the price has only been doing this, it's more about how do we lower our cost basis to keep up with how fast it's falling.
Right.
Yeah. And I'd say even allocate some time on the weekend, do some research, because there's been a lot of good plays that I found where I've been shuffling through the garbage bin and I toss out 5 stocks and then I find that little gem and I hold dearly onto it. And it may take a year, but it usually ends up being worth it. Do your research, look at the fundamentals, take a little bit of time. If you want to be serious about stock picking, it's a lot of hard work.
Damien, I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to grab a beer and let Mediocre take a stab at it first. And Damien's second comment says you guys are making all the same mistakes over and over again. So Mediocre, keeping that second comment in mind, I'll be right back, but go ahead and give him your best stab about why we're messing around with AMC.
Well,
I'll
my
let you
number one
guys
reason.
both handle that since I've got no position. So
My number one reason is because the box office is going to come back, and so I think it's as we bring in revenue, it's going to increase the market cap, and I think it's undervalued a little bit when the market cap comes back. That's my main thesis behind it, in the fact that I can generate income by selling covered calls against my position. It helps me stay in the play longer. Those are my main reasons why. But other than that, I don't really care what the ticker is. Like I said, I move my money around anyways to whatever I find offers me the better return, right? But right now, well, actually the option's terrible lately in AMC, but I'm sticking it out because I think it's a little undervalued. Main reason.
Damien, I'm going to start out by talking about GameStop because I switched up my trading plan for GameStop in July of 2022 when they did the 4-for-1 forward split, and I sold into this run up. I was not ever a big holder in GameStop, so I only accumulated shares when it made sense, and I sold at a profit into this run up in the excitement of the forward split. And the fact that I've been following these meme stocks and I understand the thinking of people that are trading them, I have only been buying the dips and selling the rips on GameStop for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarters, including selling GameStop on March 26th, 2 minutes before the market closed, 2 minutes.
that was
2
the
minutes
best
before
play
they
ever.
didn't have an earnings call, sold yet again for a profit. So don't think just because a stock is going down that you can't make money on it. What I have never said about GameStop is that it is going to be a MOAS play. And clearly with the declining revenues, there are some issues here with GameStop you should not be ignoring until we have a real plan for management. So I'm not anti-GameStop. I'm just anti-losing money. And we've had a lot of great trading sessions for GameStop. Sometimes I got to wait a month or two to buy in on a dip. So I don't do a lot of frequent coverage for GameStop because frankly, people don't want to hear the kind of talk that I just gave you. But we talk about it in Discord all the time. And I decided, what the heck? I'll share my journey and do a once a week TA video with you guys. And so I'm waiting for it to see what happens down on this lower support line. Unless Ryan and Larry Ching have some plan that they want to announce, that gets me on board. I'm waiting for a test of support wherever along this line that we find it. Or if we break through and keep going down, then obviously I'll keep waiting. But same thought with AMC, right? I made a lot of money in AMC in June of 2021, specifically in call options. I will never be read on AMC. This was long before I started on YouTube. I was horrified at what Trey and Matt were telling people to buy call options as it was running up to $70. And that is why I started my YouTube channel, because they fucking pissed me off.
That's one thing that I think people miss on those sorts of options plays. The only time from learning from bad experiences that I buy it is like if I think that the IV is underpriced, you get it at that cheap level and then you sell into the run up. But buying it at the top, buying options at the top is just, you're not only paying for more expensive options, but how much more upside are you expecting you're going to get?
And just to recap,
that's where trading comes in.
Just to recap, I did buy some shares of AMC after the squeeze. I don't call it a sneeze. I think that is disingenuous and dishonest. Anybody who calls any of these a sneeze, You're lying to your audience. It was a FOMO run or a squeeze or a combination of both in GameStop and AMC. But I did buy some
And you
shares.
don't have to believe Tony on that. The SEC said as much.
It doesn't matter.
Combo
It's not.
vote,
It's not
yeah.
really important. I'm just sharing my opinion. So we're full transparency here. People get mad at me all the time for saying this. I don't care. I did think that there was a chance for a second run up in AMC in 2021. So I bought some expensive shares, but it didn't matter. I was so far ahead. I'm playing on house money. So did I hold those all the way through 2023? Yes, I did. And I lost some money on them. But with the opportunity presented by the AMC and APE conversion, and I traded while AMC was way up here and APE was way down here, I took all my AMC, sold that money and put it down here, bought cheap APE, as we had been telling you for damn near a year that there was going to be a point where there was going to be arbitration, a point where they came together in price. I recouped some of that money that I was down on the shares that I had paid too much for late in 2021. And after that, in Q1, I bought after the reverse split, the APE and AMC conversion. I bought as it bottomed out right before the earnings. I have to pull up a chart. Right before the earnings, when was that? Earlier this year. I sold those at a profit. This was, and for anyone who doubts me, I don't really care. I post all my trades in Discord. I talk to many of these guys every day. They're doing the same fucking strategies. You can not believe us all you want. I'm not here to convince anybody, and I don't care if you believe me or not, but I have no reason to lie about this. We bought down here and sold into this run up right before this earnings. So that was $7 to about 10, $11, a 40% trade.
That's the thing, you guys. Like, there's no buy and hold in my game. I don't care. Like, if I sell an option and it goes into money, I don't give a shit. I take my money, I'll wait for a pullback, and I'll re-enter. It's the longer you hold the stock, the more at risk you put yourself, in my opinion.
Now, I was very against doing all of these strategies in 2022 and the first half of 2023. But at some point, when the company's telling you we're going to dilute the fuck out of you, you better wake up and read the damn filings and understand what is headed your way. That's why we did all those live streams every day in 2023.
And I don't think it's over.
And I think it goes into sort of like how some of these meme stock influencers have manipulated the whole buy and hold, your dollar cost averaging. That's for companies that have return accruing value to shareholders or indexed funds where, the market generally goes up because the economy is always growing. That's where that makes sense. But on these like risk plays that are, as Tony always says, speculative, that's not a good strategy to have. It's going to get you burned.
So now where we're at with AMC, my shares are under $3. I have a lot. And if this thing would stabilize, I will sell covered calls on them. I'll sell cash secured puts, and I'll just make money that way while I'm waiting for the box office to recover. I know this play very well. I have models that are almost dead on of what earnings are going to be based on box office. So I understand the financials. What the things that torpedo me is dilution notices out of left field.
Yeah, those hurt.
But believe it or not, I sold. What was it? Mediocre. I told you guys the week of this last dilution that I was worried they were going to dilute, and I was going to sell my shares, and I did. I sold my shares up here at $4.35.
Yeah, that's why Tony's in a better position.
All of them except for a handful, which I had protected with January 2026 leaps puts, which offset the losses on those shares that I kept. After it dropped and here in this range, I've been reaccumulating. I have my full position back, and I avoided a 50% walk down in price. My goal is to tell you guys this. These are risky plays. They're speculative plays. Buy and hold is very dangerous. If you want to do it, that's fine. I'm not gonna beat you up, but I'm looking at how to maximize my return while protecting my capital. And if I can get lucky enough to time the bottom, if it goes from 230 to $5, that's a great trade for me. If it goes to 25, that's a lifetime trade. But it's going to depend on box office. It's going to depend on cash burn. That's the only two things driving this: cash burn and box office, in my mind.
We have a substantial amount of shares. We're in this to make money, not to sit here and twiddle our thumbs. I mean, I trade it. I don't care what happens. You know what I mean? Like as long as it doesn't continue to go down, and I get a tradable opportunity, that's all I really look for. And I know some of you guys probably don't like that, and I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I'm not part of that club anymore, and I'm okay with that.
Damien says volatility is gone on AMC. Mediocre. Do you want to comment on that? Because something we look at every week.
That's why I trade it, because it's not gone. I mean, if they're going to continue to buy options, I'm going to sell them to them. What do you want?
There has been low volatility in the last week or two, though, right? Since
oh, absolutely. That's because of
but prior to that, down. There was a decent. You could make decent money selling covered calls. I literally know people in our group that were making $1,000 a week selling covered calls. And someone commented, "Oh, that's nothing. You should be making $1,000 a day." Well, how much money are you willing to risk on a speculative play before you say that? That's all I'm going to say. We're not trying to put our entire life savings in a money-losing company to make $1,000 a day on trading options. Sorry, don't work that way. John says Trey thought Ortex short interest was updated in real time. From what I understand from reading Ortex's own words, John, the shares
all, estimated short interest
shares on loan is data that they get from various sources, multiple sources, and is fairly accurate, but still estimated. And generally, we've seen that it's been correct within 1% or 2%. And the shares returned, I think, is a day delayed, if I'm not mistaken. I'll be honest with you guys. I haven't looked at Ortex really in about 8 months. That's how little I care about it right now.
Yeah. I don't think it matters either.
It's not, and people in my Discord, people with the badge next to the name in the chat can tell you it's not something we focus on, because it's the short interest. Short interest is just not high enough for me to be worrying about that right now.
I think Corex knows the tool. Dilution tracker is a good tool.
Yeah.
And to answer, to wrap this up on Damien's question. Damien, I give full respect to the bears who think that the company is going to go bankrupt. I don't discount that possibility, but I think that they are underestimating the box office. That's really the difference between a bull like myself and a bear, or somebody who's willing to risk like myself and someone who's absolutely bearish. Only time will tell. And you need good box office, and you need AMC to stop diluting. So we need to get to a point where the cash burn is minimized. So I said at the beginning of this year on my live streams that for me, 2024 AMC is only a volatility trading stock. Right, Mediocre? We talked about that.
Yeah.
Before this year started. This is not a buy and hold year because of the actors and writers strike and the risk of dilution. So I've been very upfront on that. It's a volatility trade stock that requires excellent timing on getting your lows, and it also requires the willingness to get out on highs or when you perceive the risk of dilution, which is why I track it fanatically and why I was able to get out on the 27th. Because I spend a lot of time worrying about that. It's a fucking risky play, but
And sentiment matters,
there
right?
is money to be made here if the bullish thesis pans out that box office improves. Only time will tell. Only time will tell.
And both sides, whether you're a bull or a bear, you need sentiment, right? If you want people to be on your side, right? You want your thesis to be right. So the shorts want more people to believe that the box office isn't coming back, where the bulls want more people to believe that the box office is coming back. I personally believe the box office is going to come back. That's why I'm playing the play.
I do too. All the people that say, I'm paid by a hedge fund to talk bad about AMC, just because I'm talking the financials, look, just follow me on Twitter, read my community tab. Look how much money and time I put in supporting the company with my own wallet, going to movies, reviewing movies, buying concessions. I'm not a bear. I'm just a realist.
And really, even if he was, what about that makes it something that you should just automatically discount? I follow by far on Twitter more bear than bull channels, not because I think that they're necessarily right, but when I'm in a position, I'm bullish on that position. So I want my headspace to be filled with the other argument to keep my personal biases in check.
Exactly. I agree with you on that.
I do the same thing. As long as, someone like Corax or other people that I read on Twitter, if they have a bearish thesis, I'm okay with reading that. It doesn't hurt my feelings as long as they can be respectful in presenting it. It's the assholes and the dipshits and the name callers and all of this I don't particularly care for. And I understand how they get that way because they get attacked every day for daring to have a different opinion. But some of them have opinions worth at least considering to, as Korek said, check your own personal bias and make sure that you're correct.
As to Doug's question there, it's just dilutiontracker.com, all one word.
Yeah, there's a website. It allows you to check companies that are listed on that website. Not all of them are listed there, by the way, but AMC is one of them that's on there.
And they'll tell you everything.
There is some capability on it that you can look at for free. If you want a paid membership to all of the data, it's about $75 a month. Or if you're a member of the channel, if you're that little join button, if you're on a desktop, I have Dilution Tracker. And anytime you guys want to know info on a ticker, just shoot me a message in Discord. That's part of the benefit of being in a group of traders is I'm paying for all of these tools so that 100 of you don't have to. Like, why should all of you be paying $75 a month if we have a little group where people are sharing due diligence, talking about plays, asking questions? Just shoot me the ticker. I can screenshot it and send it to you in a couple minutes. And I'm on Discord from when I wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning till I go to sleep. It's the best 16 cents a day you will ever spend.
And I do the same thing with these court document filings. I've got some people who joined. It's only $1 holla, and it helps me take care of paying these for these things off Pacer so that I can share that information with you, so you know what's going on with the company.
I can attest that Pacer and all that crap is fucking expensive, man. Because I was paying for all that when
it racks up quickly
during the Allegheny case. I mean, good Lord, it's irritating when you get that invoice.
Especially with Delaware Court of Chancery, because they do it through File and Serve Express, and they have extortion rates.
That's we're on the subject. Information isn't free, you guys. That's the thing. People don't realize that, right? And the information you're getting from these people, they're giving you free information or information. I don't know where they're getting the information from. It's not the same information I've been getting. I can tell you that.
Which people are you talking about? I thought you were talking about
I don't
us for
wanna-
a second.
No. Other YouTubers and such. I'm not going to call anybody out, but we use legitimate sources for information. Is what I'm saying, right?
And those sources are expensive, unfortunately.
Exactly.
As to Matt's question there, when the next content cop is coming out, that PC is back there for a reason, because I need some time to actually do it, because I'm going to have to shoot doing the stuff for it. But I was told that, used PCs aren't something that can be built and sold and can play modern games. And I think someone's going to get a very enlightening education on that.
So you've been building your own server back there, or what?
Oh, well, I already have my own server set back up. This is going to be the secondary server. This used to be my gaming PC, but I'll be giving it one last gaming PC hoorah.
Now, Corax, I was told you're not a gamer because you don't like GameStop. So are you contradicting?
Oh, is that so? Is that so?
Oh man.
Can you before we wrap up here, can you tell us what's on your bulletin board back there?
Bulletin board. Yeah, that's stuff left over from the football game. I've got up on the top there, the Battle Hawks with the dome in St. Louis. And then we've got, of course, down on the lower, I guess, left for you guys is Shocked Pikachu. Then in the middle is from the television show on PBS, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah.
That was I had that up there before it became a meme.
Okay.
And then last one over is a play on Donald Trump's slogan. I found that, a lot of these crazy, as you call them, flat earthers. So instead of Make America Great Again, I decided to make sanatoriums great again.
Let's wrap this up with Corax. I'm going to let you weigh in.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few YouTubers out there who like to go through resumes of people who've worked on Wall Street for 10, 20, 30 years and ended up on boards. And if you ever worked for Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Deloitte, in your entire career, you are now somehow suspect as being complicit in RICO violations and AMC or any number of companies. What is your general response to these type of connect the dot allegations?
Well, as far as I'm concerned on that, in any business or any sector, you're going to have this sort of incestuous thing, because of course people are going to be looking for professionals that have expertise in the field that you're looking for. If Tony was going to go out, or if I was going to go out as someone who's worked in the AV sector before, I better have my resume in tidy order, showing all the different places I worked at, if I'm going to be able to get another AV job. It's the same sort of way. And, even in finance, it's the number of financial institutions that are considered top tier are very small. So of course it's going to be highly incestuous. But at the end of the day, this sort of conspiratorial thing, I put it up there with 6 degrees of separation, where if you can find a person 6 degrees removed from you, you can find a random person that's connected to you in any sort of manner or ways. And it really doesn't prove anything, because you can do that with just about anybody.
Yeah, that's my same general thought. Like if you're on the board of a Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 company, chances are in your career, first of all, chances are you've been in the industry for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And the second chance is that at one time you worked for one of those companies.
Yeah.
And
especially on the accounting side, with there's only 5 big accounting firms. So you're going to be in one of them if you're good.
That does not mean that everybody on every board in corporate America is somehow corrupt. It means that you're drawing a false conclusion because you have some narrative that you're what's the word? You're confirming your own bias without understanding the fucking industry.
You have an argument and you're searching for evidence for that argument without letting the evidence determine what the
real evidence for me would be to show that person has some criminal history, not the fact that 10 years ago they worked for XYZ company. That is not evidence.
And even then, it would need to be related, because just because someone committed a crime 5 years ago doesn't mean they committed a crime today.
I think, unfortunately, we have a lot of people connecting dots and making accusations without understanding what actual evidence, what the word evidence means.
Mm-hmm. And I would say if they want to...
Looking at someone's resume is not evidence. I am sorry.
And if they want to connect dots, I've got several coloring books over at Walmart they can go pick up and connect all the dots they want to.
I like paint by color, though, Corax.
Paint by colors. You like to finger paint is what I heard, mediocre.
In the bathroom.
Watercolors.
All right, guys. 2 minutes left. One more good question. Make it a good one. Michael says, Tony, look at SoFi, GTN, and Ford all I think will rally up now. I have some interest in SoFi, so that's on my list to go in. SoFi and freaking Palantir.
Palantir's also got earnings coming up May 6th, I believe.
Good Lord. I better get on the ball and catch up on my Palantir DD. And
I just noticed that too, because it popped up into my window. I'm like, oh.
May, Markets with May, and I talked many weeks ago about doing a SoFi collab. So there'll be something coming up because she's interested in that stock as well as myself.
It's been having a pretty good run as of recently.
No questions? No
Hasn't
questions.
been on here in a while, Tony.
What mediocre?
I said Markets with May hasn't been on here in a while.
She was traveling. She's been traveling. I don't know. I see her tweeting about companies that I'm not really in, so I don't read them. I mean, I read them, but I'm not trying to read every single tweet.
About the debt being restructured.
That's the last time we had her on, and thanks to her for taking the time on her trip to Vietnam or wherever she was to find a rooftop with. Maybe who knows? Maybe when we get the upcoming news on the debt restructuring, and let's wrap this up maybe she'll come back. Let's wrap this up with my best tinfoil theory for you. Total speculation. I have no evidence of this other than my gut feeling, and I could be completely wrong. But my guess that today's run up was because AMC is near to the end of dilution, or maybe already done, that they weren't applying any additional selling pressure. Could have been, as we talked about at the beginning, that they're just letting it breathe so the price can come up and they keep selling. Because my model shows that they won't be done till May 2nd, but my model could be incorrect. So let's go back to the tinfoil theory. They are done. They are at the conference room table with the lenders signing the debt restructuring deal. And some of those lenders might have been shorting AMC because they're bondholders and they're protecting their position, or just capitalizing on the fact that the price was going to go down to make extra money. These capitalistic bastards. But I think that someone said AMC's done diluting. We need to close out these shorts. The bottom is in. Let's get out and get prepped for the upside on some news pending in the next day or so that dilution is done, and maybe bonus points that a debt restructuring has been signed off on. So that's my best fable / story / tinfoil of why the price ran up today. Could be completely wrong.
Could be donuts. We don't know.
It could be running up donut holes. That's equal because of the donut hole announcement. But we'll only know, guys. We'll only know in the next couple days. We're going to have to watch what happens with the price action over the next couple days. And I've had this feeling since yesterday that we were getting close to done, even though my spreadsheet said we were not. I had a feeling, and so I bought $3 calls yesterday for pennies, and those were up 700% today if you were watching the options at the peak. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, there's a lot of ways to make money in this play if you got your head on a swivel and you're looking at the right things and not listening to the the emotional crybaby flat earthers. But at any rate, it's still speculative. The company's still not profitable. They're not going to make a profit in Q1. They're going to burn probably 200 to 250 million in cash. Be prepared for that. And now the raging debate in our little DD circle is the bad news of Q1 baked in, considering the good news of Q2 and Q3? Mediocre, yes or no? Is it baked in, or are we going down?
I don't know. I think it's baked in because of where we're at, but I don't know. There's room to go back down to 250.
Correct.
I think the only thing that I can think of is speaking of the server thing. If you ever want assistance creating your own backup server in case YouTube decides to pull the plug on your channel, you just give me a ring. I can help you set one up.
All right.
It wouldn't be inexpensive.
It would be expensive?
It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. Yeah.
So you're just going to dodge the question about, do you think we're going to go down on Q1?
I think it's possible. Like, it really depends on what the market expects and what it comes in at. But I'd say it's a possibility. It's always a possibility.
I think it's going to come down to, and I'll maybe try and get a video out once they announce the date. We'll take a fresh look at what analysts are expecting versus what I'm expecting. Because again, if we meet analysts' expectations or beat it, there's a chance we could stay flat or go up. If we do worse than analysts' expectations, we will go down, quite likely. So that's really what it's going to boil down to. And good Lord, man, there's always a lot of debate. Did we beat or meet or not meet analyst expectations? That falls into, was the analyst giving you an adjusted EBITDA number, an adjusted earnings per share, or not adjusted? So it's a difficult question for me to answer when I just generally avoid those conversations. Like, why is it going down when we beat? Well, we beat on adjusted earnings, but we didn't beat on non-adjusted earnings. So what was that analyst predicting? Was he predicting normal earnings, or was he predicting, what's the word?
Adjusted.
Not the accounting word.
Oh, GAAP.
Yeah. Was the analyst predicting GAAP earnings, or was the analyst predicting adjusted earnings? They're not always very clear on that. And I've even written to some of them and they won't fucking answer. It's infuriating.
I think they like that ambiguity.
It is fucking infuriating. But yeah, when you see an earnings number and you see analysts, the first thing you should be asking yourself is that GAAP earnings or adjusted earnings? Help me get answers, guys. Go message these analysts yourself and let's get an answer, because they won't answer me. They won't answer me.
We'll have to go rough them up, I guess.
Yeah, let's go rough them up on LinkedIn. All the analysts that cover AMC are on LinkedIn. I've reached out to all of them. Not one has answered me. So if you guys are watching, you analysts, Alicia and whoever else, I forget their names, we want answers.
Correct. Should go to AMC headquarters and make friends over there.
Correct. So are you going to go to the meeting?
You know what? It might be interesting to just drop in. I was planning on going to the meeting when it was for the one before the lawsuit.
They won't let you in because you're not a shareholder, right?
Oh, I might have to grab a share then, just to be like, ha 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 ha.
I have thought about it. Maybe I'll make the drive or a quick flight up there. Yeah. It'd be fun to do.
KC's a nice city.
Be fun to do it one time. Yeah, they have some barbecue up there too.
Oh, a lot of it. Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Be up early. I think at 5:30 Eastern is when SEC Edgar stops taking submissions for 8Ks in the evenings. I don't know how early they start taking them in the morning. A lot of that 8K process is automated. So during the day, companies will preload their disclosures, and that's why you see all these things popping out right when the market closes. But if they have something that came out, some news an hour or 90 minutes after the market closed, sometimes you get these late 8Ks. So we watched it till 5 5:30 Eastern today. I'll probably be up hitting the refresh button starting about 6 or 6:30 in the morning tomorrow. And we're just on 8K watch. And of course, we'll have to watch the overall market. We want positive market sentiment because that will help stabilize the price of AMC. And we will see. I mean, if we see the price getting driven down in a mostly bullish market, then I would say AMC has not done diluting. But today was interesting nonetheless, and it was fun to come have a Tinfoil Tuesday hangout with you guys.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Everyone that tuned in tonight, thank you for your time. We love you all. We want the best for you, and we want to help you make non-emotional trading decisions and encourage you always to read the damn filings. And if Adam Aaron tells you there's no synthetics in an airport parking lot, maybe you ought to listen. That's all I'm going to say. Good night, guys.
Let's go. Yeah. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast.